And by everyone I mean all the thoughts that are within my head, all the different personas and entities that are congruing and congregating in the recesses of my mind. I think for today's personal journal entry, I'll talk about sex. What is it about sex and the activity thereof? See, I got a very overactive imagination, and what I usually fantasize about differs greatly from what I actually like to practice. It's actually very much the opposite. I love my wife. I love making love to my wife. Except for that grace period when she first wanted to get pregnant, and I was terrified of impregnating her, but once that happened, there was no need to fear, so I'm looking very much forward to getting home and having relations with the missus. But as we're apart, I notice what runs through my head is very I don't know the word for it. Opposite and counterintuitive to what I already envisioned. I mean, the other day I had a dream that a redheaded Russian girl, well, not girl, woman, she was in her late 30s with a firm body and big round natural tits, D-cup, 34 I believe, 34 or 36, and her crimson locks even showed in her manicured nether regions, which seemed, for some reason, to act as a spice for lady parts. She tasted exquisite, like flesh with the hint of perfumed salt. The feeling, as we 69, that's how the dream started. We was on a long couch, sectional actually. Only 69, I could feel her lips, redly painted, suckling me in. Shallow at first, and then deep. 2 shallows, 3 deep thrusts. 2 shallows, 3 deep thrusts. And about every fifth repetition of this, she would intervene with a deep suckling swirl, which causes my tongue to dart and lap against her lips, suckling at her clit, which throbbed. I could swear it was growing in betwixt my lips. Our candlelight silhouettes move as one unison entity. Our bodies entwine in such a way for us to be able to both position and take each other in deeply. I pull back a little firmly on her hair, jerking her head back. She pulls against it with a great thrust, diving back down upon my manhood in such a fashion. One of her hands tickle at my erogenous zone betwixt my thigh and my lower belly, as the other grasps 3 fingers around my shaft, and the other 2 playing about with my testicles. Her back tattoo was stretched from her shoulders all the way down to the back of her ass cheeks. A grand pattern with multicolored figures dancing about, entering a church and exiting, turning into skeletons as they exit the building and ascend up a staircase on one side, her left shoulder, another staircase leading downward, going over her right. A crimson-haired, beautiful woman's face evilly grins with her long-nailed taloned hands arched over the doorway openings of the stairwell, her face centered going up the back of her neck. Her name is Ivanka, and she is a constant. My hands slide down her from around the back of her hair, letting go as I guide them towards her breasts, squeezing and pinching around her nipples. Her body reacts in accelerated gestured fashion. She likes this. She likes the gentle aggression. Her nail that's on my erogenous zone rakes with manicured fingernails back and forth and in circles as though spelling out letters. In Russian or American, I'm not sure. I lost track of the words. My mind reels from the feeling that gestures and opens from my nether regions. My asshole puckers. As I tense up muscles to contract cigarette. Love them, but they burn way too fast. That's why I like my tasty cigars. And on as a rare occasion would have it, I have my choice between the miniature moods or Swisher Sweet Cigalero grape flavored. I have a taste for the sweets, so I'm going with the Swisher Sweet. I gotta get my Zippo lighter fixed. Where was I? Oh, asshole puckering. My mind begins to reel back in as I try to remember how long I pause and take in this moment. And I start back in on her with a passionate ferocity, my tongue reeling from side to side in fourfold fashion, and then switching to sliding up and down, making my way to around the clit, applying gentle suction and then a little nibble as it slides forward betwixt my lips. As great as this feels, before I climax, I must feel her insides. I'd motion her upward, and she applies greater suction, greater than all the other attempts, as though signifying her not wanting to let go. Finally, she releases. She spins her perfumed pussy past my mouth, her leg going over my head, her knee digging into my shoulder as she loses her balance. It's those little hiccups in these motions that give me a chance to reset, to give myself the willpower not to explode with first contact with her lips, perfectly lubricated from her saliva. She uses her fingers to part her pussy lips and uses the other to balance herself above my waist, her hand pushing on my round belly. Recently shaved, not a fan of my body hair. Too many grays. Like the feeling, but don't like the sight. With one smooth slide, I enter her. I feel the sides of her pussy walls contracting around me. She releases a lip bit moan as she slides down with perfect precision. close, as though unable to take in this vision anymore. This crimson-haired lady, green eyes closed to me at this moment, as she begins to grind and swirl. Her hips slide into mine with great rhythm and stride. I push up, joining her hips, attempting to dig in deeper, feeling the sides of her pussy walls grip. I can feel her heartbeat. I squeeze her breast firmly, pulling her towards me. She positions herself to grind me even harder, pushing me deeper inside of her. She unclenches her teeth, releasing her bottom lip from its ensnarement. Leaning her face close, she slides her tongue inside my mouth. Now we're connected in 2 areas. 3 if you count our souls. All of us are combined in this perfect union. This moment of carnal bliss. Our essence intermingle. Her hair falls to the side of my face. This disrupts me and displeases me. I enjoy looking at her face. I slide my hands from off of her breast, sliding my hands to the sides of her cheek and sliding back, pulling her hair back in between my fingertips. Her kiss is as deep and as intense as my cock sliding into her. I slide one hand around her shoulder, under her armpit to her back, sliding and parting her ass cheeks. I rub her asshole. She bounces and grinds back and forth, forcing pressure from one orifice to another. I slide one finger in, coaxing myself into her. She releases open mouth moan this time over my lips. I can feel her in so many ways. I really do miss my shades. I think I found a replacement pair, but they cost way more than my original pair. I only paid, I think, $1.99 on the last 2 pair of shades, and they lasted me for years. And I don't like the arms on this new set either. They're that rubbery type stuff. Traps too much of my DNA. Call me paranoid, but I don't like leaving my DNA. Except for when I spit. I gotta spit to get the germs. I keep feeling like there's a loogie in the back of my throat that every time I swallow it nubs and it's coming loose, but I don't want to swallow that. Whatever's coating the back of my throat. It always drifts me to a bad memory. I was forced to taste urine while performing fellatio on a family member. I guess that's one of those things I'll take to my grave, or always wear on my soul. But for future reference, if anyone ever meets me, that's why I spit so much. That taste, that repulsion. I can still remember that taste of saline-filled urine. On one occasion they peed in my mouth. It was the ultimate act of betrayal. Exquisitely empty of emotion. Surgical almost. Maybe there lies in my obsession with oral copulation. And my fascination with women that can apparently do this with great ease. And keep them on moving. More power to you, ladies. The world would be a better place if there was more of you out there. I once met a lady that flattened me one time when she told me that she enjoys and even craves the taste of semen. Part of me fell in love with her and died at the same time as I realized, because of my situation at the time, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of that knowledge. The offer was even semi-made. I had every excuse in the world to go through with it. And only one reason not to. My commitment to who I was with at the time. And still am. Back to the dream. What's so intense about it is not the sex that goes on, but because the climax never happens in my dream. Imagine that even in my dreams I can't fully fucking get off. And I just usually wake up in the middle of us fucking. And then I have to go pee with a fucking hard on. But once that happens, usually I'll try to go back to sleep. And then it will pick up with the afterglow, which in some ways is also my favorite part. Number 2, seconded only by the actual climax itself. The being in the midst of it, right smack dab at the middle where it peaks the most, and then it plateaus for a nanosecond. I swear it feels like heaven. Being charged by God. Feeling that disconnect from your physical and the mental, where your mind goes. I've asked many of my sexual counterparts where they go to. Some people go to a very dark place. I remember an ex-lover of mine told me that she goes to when her dad once or repeatedly molested her. But the first time she actually came, she didn't want to, it just happened. She always felt guilty. She had never been able to climax until we were together. Nobody she was with because of her attractiveness ever took time for her orgasm or attempt for it. Wasn't that complicated. If you know someone's body, it's not that hard. But if you know a woman's mind and her body, that's why I always say before you lay with someone, if you want to really enjoy it, you should study the person first. Mutual enjoyment is what separates man from beast.